Introducing the all-new BYD Sea Lion 7, the luxury electric SUV that's changing the game. Book your free test drive today at the BYD showroom in Sheffield.
Dr. Steelhammer, Vladimir Klitschko, and Dr. Iron Fist, Vitaly Klitschko, Shannon the Cannon Briggs, and Butterbean, Cruiserweight King Jai Opataya.
Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. I'm not going to say what time it is, Napa, but it's very early hours. It's a nice quiet night. Yeah. We've got Napa, probably like the biggest unit when it comes to boxing managers in the world. And funnily enough, sat right in front of the biggest building in the world. In like, this wasn't planned. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Nah, I've just been out watching the football. You told me you got a flight, so I made some time for you before you head off. That's
it, man. And it's are you the biggest unit when it comes to boxing manager? I'm trying to think who else is like a boxing manager. That's
maybe Dean White.
Yeah, maybe he's Dean more White. A promoter though, isn't he, Dean?
Yeah, he's a promoter, isn't he?
Yeah.
Actual manager and only a manager. I can't think of anyone. I think you definitely get that crown.
How are you finding your? I don't want to say newfound fame or whatever, because you've been on the scene for a long time in different roles, etc. But obviously in the last couple of weeks you will have had loads of people DMing you, messaging you, messages of encouragement. You might even have had some negative messages, but how are you finding all that?
Only 3 negative messages.
Only
Not
3?
Bad, isn't it? Only 3. I've been counting them.
Oh shit.
Yeah, only 3.
Mind sharing what they were?
Racist stuff. It's okay, I love it. Listen, you know, it was 21 years ago I was part of Power with Lethal Bizzle. You know, that was a madness when that came out, being a young kid from Hackney, East London. So I have, like, you know, the messages and all that stuff. I've been through it before, so it is what it is. For me, it's not really about me, it was more about Chris. It all would have meant nothing if Chris didn't win, and I wouldn't be in boxing if it wasn't for Chris. It's him that paved the way for me to get into this and manage fighters, him and Miss V. So, and David Chisora definitely nudged me over the line, so I just got to commend them all the time.
What role did Derek play?
Because I wasn't sure, and then I rang Derek, and I was like, what do you think? You think I should manage fighters or whatnot? And then he gave me some words that definitely helped me think to myself, all right, fuck it, yeah, let me give it a go. And he owes me a fight. He said I can manage him for 1 fight.
No way.
Yeah, but maybe, you know, maybe he just said it just to get it over the line, but yeah.
Indeed. It's an interesting one. Like I said, if you know, the couple of interviews I did with you during fight week, you know, they both did well over 100,000 on YouTube. And if you look at the comments, there's a lot of people from your past who recognize you, and you know, like, oh, it's Napa, is he still MCing, etc. So people that don't know, you was like a music artist.
Yeah, I was a grime MC. Started MCing in 2002, and then I featured on Power with Lethal Bizzle in 2004. That went to the charts at number 11, which was a big deal back then. The song got signed for 6 figures, which was unheard of back then, apart from like So Solid. And yeah, we toured the country, we did a lot of stuff, we performed at massive arenas and the rest of it, so that was massive back then. And then yeah, and then I did club events. I was the first person to bring Nicki Minaj to the UK and have her perform. I did Rick Ross Blow Money Fast tour concert back in the day. Like, loads of people that know me from ages ago would know all of this stuff, some people don't. Then I had a massive comedy show, well, like comedy and live music. I've had Vetch 32 at my show, I've had J. Cole, Ed Sheeran was discovered at my show to the urban world.
Wow.
Anyone can ask Ed Sheeran, and Ed, will be good to see you, because you know, he used to wear my Louis Vuitton glasses and my I used to think I was the stuff, you know. Back in the day when you used to make like over £1,000, it was a massive deal over 10 years ago. So yeah. We had a lot of big artists back in the day.
It's always good to see how people's journeys go, because boxing is one of those mad sports where there's so many people in the sport, whether they're managing, working on the outside, or doing different roles, but everyone's come from the most random backgrounds, and they've ended up in boxing.
Yeah, just before I got into the boxing, I was working for Pretty Little Thing with women, you know, doing marketing for Pretty Little Thing, and personal training the owner, Kamani. So, you know, I've tried to find my feet in many places, but I think I found a home now.
Even the owner of Box Row used to buy and sell cars.
Yeah, there you go.
Now he's in charge of the biggest clothing equipment
they're smashing
company
it. He's
in the world,
smashing it.
boxing.
I think Eddie Hearn used to, was it sell windows or something?
Yeah, double glazing.
Yeah, that's why he's a good salesman, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So when people try and knock you down and say, oh, you're you know, like I think Sam Jones has had it before as well. I think he might have used to sell cars as well.
Okay.
It don't matter what you used to do. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's what matters is what you're doing now.
Yeah, 100%.
And what's happened in the past kind of builds you for where you're getting to. Do you know what I mean? It's all a journey, innit?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm going to put you in the spot because I've been searching YouTube, mate. There's loads of videos of you spitting bars. I'm just going to randomly pick one. You're not as big as you were. There he is.
That's one of the old freestyles.
Just out of curiosity, can you still spit bars? Do you still remember any of the stuff?
Yeah, I remember them.
Yeah. If I put you in the spot, would you do it? Drop any bars? Oh, he wants to get paid. Oh shit!
I performed last year, you know.
No way. Where was that?
Damn, I can't even remember the name of the venue. That's so bad of me. But obviously, the biggest song I'd done was called "Pal" with Lethal Bizzle, and we did a 20-year anniversary in Tottenham Court Road, a venue I do not remember. But yeah, it was wicked, man. The crowd went crazy. It got like 9 reloads or 10 reloads. Yeah, it was good, man. Gigs pulled up and loads of other massive artists around the UK pulled up. It was good. Jamie was there.
Well,
it was good.
I've got to ask you, you put up a video on Instagram the other day. You know, the most famous phrase from Eubank Jr. Ben Build-Up was, I guarantee you're not coming in.
Yeah.
So is that turning into a song or what? What's going on?
Lethal B's on me, like, it's like, just let's do a video and let's see if we can get some views or whatnot. So from how the world worked, you know, like even like when the song I'm on Pal, I didn't even want to say the lyric that I said, I'll crack your skull, and Lethal's like, oh, say this lyric, whatnot. So when it comes to Bizzle, he's got this creative mind, so I try not to go against him because normally what he suggests for me to do works. So I just thought, all right, fuck it, what do you want me to do? And then yeah, before we went to go watch the Canelo show, he's like, yeah, let's do a video and see if we get some traction. And yeah, it got a lot of traction, so maybe I might drop an 8 or a 16 on that song, who knows.
No, she's on Napa's coming out of retirement. So we're going to talk a bit of boxing. I tell you, one of the things I want to know about Napa is your personal relationship with Chris Eubank Jr. Because there's always this like notion out there that he's fallen out with every promoter he's worked with. You know, he's not on good terms with any promoters other than Ben Shalom. And I've always heard people have said like, oh, he's difficult to work with. You know, Eddie said it in numerous interviews over the past, not the easiest guy to work with. And I know from what you've told me, you guys have been friends for 12 years, working together in different types of businesses, etc. So what's made your relationship with him strong and still together compared to the other ones that haven't obviously flourished?
Good question. I'm not sure.
Man.
We met in 2012. So when I used to throw parties, and one of the girls that used to host, so basically I would pay girls back in the day £10 a girl. So I'd say bring girls to the club. Yeah,
this sounds so
crazy.
Bad.
Yeah, but back then it was alright. So I was like, bring 15 girls.
Pay women to attend the event.
To attend, yeah.
Because you know somebody's gonna clip this.
Oh yeah. No, so like they would host the table. So obviously, the club doors open at 10 o'clock. Then I'd get like 6 or 7 different girls to host the table. Every girl they'd get a tenner. So like £150, they'd make £10 each girl. But then it means that when the guys turn up, you got a club full of girls, and it would have cost me £1,000 or whatnot, but I'd make the money back later. And then this girl was pushing me, can I bring Eubank? I was like, yo, I told you to bring girls. We talking about, but I thought she was talking about senior. I didn't know about junior. And then I was just like, he can buy a table. He's like, you know, he's big time boxer. What? Like, he's like, no, he doesn't drink. And I was just like, well, then he can't come. And then the following week she asked me again. And I was just like, I said, all right, if you bring 20 girls, you can bring him. And then she brought 20 girls. And then I was like, yeah, you can come in. And then it was crazy. We just clicked. Like, I don't drink alcohol. He don't drink alcohol. I'm quite a calm. I know that video might look like I'm, you know, might be aggressive, whatever. I'm not. I'm quite a calm, cool, chilled person. So is he. And then we just bonded, and then we just we hanged out for that party and the rest of it, and the rest of the night. Then I invited him to my next event. Then he started inviting me to these fights. Then he just like, you want to do my ring walks? I was like, all right, cool, we'll do the ring walk. So even like, I used to do close protection for quite a lot of people, but that all came off the back of people seeing me doing ring walks for Eubank and then thinking I'm a bodyguard. And then they were like, yo, there's this rapper in town, can you do close protection for him? And then it led on to another stuff. So yeah, we have been friends since 2012, 2025, so 13 years now. Never fallen out with him once. I think, have we ever fallen out? No, never fallen out with him, ever. Not even an argument.
A sign of true friendship, innit? But then
Yeah.
again, you've obviously stood the test of time. So why do you think his relationship with the other promoters have not really flourished? Obviously, Ben Shalom's the guy that he's working with now.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's been with Wasserman, he's been with Eddie Hearn in the past. You know, obviously, got a, I don't know how to describe the Frank Warren relationship, but it's not great. Do you know what I mean? So kind of give your perspective of it, because obviously we read the other side's versions. So what's your perspective of it?
So obviously, in the beginning, a lot of the relationships was with Senior, and people didn't really have a relationship with Junior. And then obviously, I remember with Frank Warren, there was an issue with the Tommy Langford fight. You know, Frank said Chris pulled out, or I don't know the details of it because I was not management back then. So that's when the Frank Warren stuff started. The Eddie Hearn stuff, when was that now? Probably was the Golovkin fight. You know, everyone said that Chris lost his pen, he didn't. I think there was an issue with, I don't know if it was Eddie Hearn or his dad or Senior. Again, it was nothing to do with Junior. So that's what messed up the matchroom stuff, per se. And then, but I don't think any of them could say like Chris has done anything like malicious, or because he hasn't. His fault with all of them. Even Hennessy, you know, had loads of fights with Hennessy in the beginning. And then with Wasserman, I don't know. I think that just ran its course. Me personally, I don't. Let's be honest. You know, if any of the promoters had the chance to sign Chris today, I think they will take it. I don't think that they'd say no. I don't want Chris Eubank Jr. Why would you not want the #1 fighter selling his fights in the UK, can sell out arenas, like, you know, whose press conferences get so much. Even when he was on the undercard of Bivol Beterbiev, okay, he might have been saying stuff that people didn't like, but it was all about him. And another day, he turns up with a sword, and you know, the guy is gold. I don't think he's hard to deal with, but I may be seeing it from a biased point of view. They may be saying it, but that also might be a way of them explaining why he's not with them. Because trust me, I know in the last 1 year, everyone's wanted to sign him. I can tell you that for a fact. No one part of any promotional company in the UK, out of the big boys.
In Frank Warren?
I don't want to give this. Listen, none of the big promoters can tell me to my face they've not wanted to work with Chris in the last 12 months. Before we was with Boxer, everyone did. So, you know, like when you try to talk to a girl and then you're like, oh, I think she likes me, you know, and then so I'm gonna go and get a number, and then you go over there, she's not on it. You come back, what happened? Ah, she's long, she's not on it. She's got a man, like, you know, like it's similar type of thing. It's just like, why like Chris is a free agent, you didn't get him, why? Oh, we don't want him, we don't want to work with him, but you do. Because every promoter is trying to match their fighters with Chris. So 100% you would want it to sign Chris. So,
you know, if you look at Chris from the outside, if you don't know him personally, which obviously I don't, he comes across as quite a closed book. Is that deliberate, or is he like what is that? Is that his
how he is? Yes, you got different type of characters. I'm more of a people's person. I'm that guy on my birthday that loads of people will come to my event and stuff. Derek Chisora is quite similar to me, like cool with loads of people, like might be big, strong guy, but friendly, people's person. Other people are not. I don't know millions of people that say that they're close with Golovkin, you know, like, or close with, I don't know, even Klitschko. Some people are just quite reserved. Chris is reserved at first, and once you get to know him, then he's a character. But the world is just, well, I don't say the world's just seeing it now, but he's seeing more of it now that he's been his own person with the press conferences since like Liam Williams, even George Groves, and like onwards from that, you've seen his character come out more. But yeah, if you know him personally, then yeah. If you don't know him, he's not gonna be like Coogan, Cassius, and Derek Chisora and be loud and stuff. That's just not how he is.
You've seen since that event last week, you know, you've announced the signing of Blair Cobbs. I know you're in the market to speak to loads of other fighters. Well, what is the plan going forward? Is there going to be like a Nova Sports management company, like when Chris retires and you guys are all going to work together and manage fighters, or like, what's the plan?
We haven't gone into it deeply because I don't want Chris to think about retiring anytime now, so we ain't trying to set up a retirement plan. The only thing that he does to set up stuff post fighting is the investments that he's making outside of, you know, investments he's made in real estate and the rest of it, which he's doing really well. But you know, him and Miss V already had Nova Sport, and then they got me on board because they knew I got good relationships with fighters and whatnot. So we're just seeing where we can go at the moment. Blair Cobbs, I'm excited to see what we do with him. Fun character, bit different to Chris, maybe a bit more
Loud.
yeah, much more loud, but it will work. I think the UK are gonna like that, and imagine the two of them at the same press conference.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Going back to Chris, what was he doing in Brixton? Some videos of him in Brixton yesterday. What was all that about?
So before the fight, I think he went to go see some youth centres or something like that, and he went to go revisit them after he's won. So and he's been going out, you know, I think there was footage of it yesterday, but he's been doing it for the past few days, just meeting the people in the street. You know, everyone's loving him at the moment. They're like, some of my security friends are like, yo, he doesn't want no close protection, like he doesn't need no security. He's just getting so much mad love in the streets right now in the UK. It's brilliant.
It's almost like the pantomime villain who people are just loving. Was that a fair way of describing him, do you think?
Yeah, he's always thought of himself
So he's not like a real villain, he kind of plays up to the character.
Yeah, he's always thought of himself like he's the bad guy, not because he's a bad guy, but he felt like that's the perception people had of him. I've always thought not really, but now that people have seen his character a bit more, I mean, the Liam Smith promo, things were said that made it a bit messy, but you've seen it a bit more with the Conor Bens side. The guy's a character, and now you've seen that side. Now they're warming to him more, and you know, like a few of the interviews he's done, like the Diary of the CEO and stuff like that. So you start to understand the guy's actually got a big heart, and he's a funny guy, and he can fight. It all makes an amazing package.
And there is a saying, everyone loves a bad guy because they need someone to point the fingers at. So let's go towards this rematch, the rehydration clause. I just want to, can I clarify this, because I spoke to Eddie in Riyadh a couple of days ago, and he basically said to me that they agreed the rematch on the same clauses as in the original fight, which basically means that rehydration clause is still in. So where do we stand with that?
Eddie said say that again?
It basically said that the rematch has to happen on the same terms because that's what's been signed.
Eddie Hearn is correct to his knowledge. He hasn't seen our contract. He doesn't know the ins and outs of our deal, and he doesn't know why myself and anyone else part of the team are saying that we need to have conversations about the rematch. We want the rematch. We want that fight again, but there are some things that need to get ironed out. I'm not going to air out the finer details of the contract, but but Eddie doesn't know. Same way we don't know I don't know what's in Conor Bens' contract. He don't know what's in Chris's contract. So he's just assuming it makes, well, our contract says this, so we're saying yeah, but he doesn't know the ins and outs.
So just looking at it as an outsider, it looks like they're adamant that the rehydration clause is in there. It's quite clear from your side that's not a way you're going to go down. You're not going to go down that route again. So what is the middle ground? Say for example, if they stick to that and you stick to your thing, contractually, who's in the wrong? Is the fight going to happen again, or is that a bit sticky to talk
We're
about?
the A side. We won. We have the bigger fighter. And we got the Canelo fight on the horizon within the next 12 months. Conor Ben wants to buy more Rolls Royces and, you know, enjoy life like he's at the moment. Fight again on our terms.
What do you make of his new roller?
Deserves it.
Nice
For a hell of a fight. I think do you know what I like about him the most? I think he's like a good father.
He goes all out for his family.
He's seen that, yeah. He's like even like when he's like, oh, like when Senior turned up, he was like, oh, so happy that he's here. Sometimes he shows a side of him where I'm just like, oh, he's a good guy, and then it will revert back to, oh, F this, I'm gonna do this, and I'm like, oh man, Chris needs to knock this shoot out. So, but I feel like deep down is,
yeah, I think from what our interactions I've had with him, I'd guess that him saying that he was happy for Senior to turn up, that's him speaking from the heart. I think that was genuine from him.
Yeah, I've always liked the fact that he's not one of these kids that just makes a bit of money and then covers his necks in diamond chains and does outrageous stuff. So yeah.
Last question I've got for you, Napa, is the if it's not Conor Ben, Kell Brook, is that a potential name?
I'd like Chris to fight Kell Brook. That'll be a fight that I think the public will like. They've not got on since he took the Golovkin fight, which is a fight that Chris really wanted, and it was a perfect time for him to fight Golovkin 2016. It would have been one hell of a fight, especially now people seeing that Chris can dog it out. Imagine in a fight with Golovkin, if he's got the ability to throw over 100 punches around, it would have been one hell of a fight. So yeah, Chris weren't happy about that. They went back and forth. He did all the stuff about Chris lost his pen, and Chris said all of the stuff like, I've got no towels in my corner. So that is something that is been on our minds for a while, and I'd like that fight for Chris for sure.
Good stuff. We'll wrap it up. So it could be Kell Brook, could be Conor Ben, or could be Canelo. One of them three is Eubank.
Well, hopefully we need Canelo to beat Crawford. You know, there's a bad luck thing of like, you know, all these fights getting set up, but it's based on the fact of Haney's got to beat this person, Ryan's got to beat that person, and then it flops. So then AJ's got to beat Wallin, and then Wilder's got to beat Parker, and then it flops. So I hope, I mean, I love Bomac, but for Chris, I need Canelo to win, and we need to make sure we win against, fingers crossed, Conor Ben. And then I say fingers crossed, not for the win, for the fact that it's going to be the Conor Ben fight. And then we beat Conor Ben, they beat Crawford, and then we fight him next year.
Wicked. Well, I appreciate your time, Napa. Do you reckon, I'll tell you what, I reckon we'll finish off. Let's see if we can get you to stand up and just see how big you are compared to the tallest building in the world, mate.
I think I'm just a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You're not going to sign us out with any lines or verses or anything?
Lethal, send the beat. Send the beat to my email. That's it.
Top man.